Japa. The scriptures call it the method for Kali Yuga. Repeat the name. This much is given. What happens when sound leaves the mouth and does not return? Most take Japa as a transaction. I give devotion. I receive realization. This is commerce dressed as religion. Baba Kinaram saw beggars wearing crowns of borrowed concepts. Here, nothing is sold. The path does not bend. Your comfort is not consulted. You have the spine, or you do not. What is not fire falls away as ash. I don't raise house cats, I raise tigers. I may have many devotees, but only a handful are taken as students. And even they are not treated as students in the usual sense. I shape them to become gurus. My students are heirs/scion to the Baba Kinaram, and more specifically Baba Hari Ram's lineage, not followers. If someone lacks the spine for that, they remove themselves. The path doesn't bend, and neither do I. Shri Satguru Avadut Baba Aniramji. Tigers, not house cats. Heirs, not followers. The burning does not ask if you are ready. Now from Avadutacharya Heruka Baba Suryaram. Japa Sadhana. The spiritual discipline of repeating the names of the divine is said in the scriptures to be the recommended method of meditation in Kali Yuga to awaken self and God realization. To deepen this meditation, we need to understand that the holy names of God and God are non-different. By constantly remembering the holy names, realization and the direct association with God is attained. Japa increases the purity of one's devotion in the heart, and the inner vision of the eternal relationship with God eventually becomes crystal clear. This vision of one's innermost identity and mood of devotion brings spiritual maturity and makes us qualified to merge completely with the eternal pastimes of the divine within us. The language draws the seeker in. It does not ask permission. Non-different is a door left open. Constant remembering demands exhaustion. Purity burns impurity without asking. Vision removes clouds without consent. Maturity happens whether wished or not. Qualified means unready was burned. Merge means separation was swallowed. Pastimes continue without the player. This is the compassion of the lineage. It lets you wear your clothes of devotion. It lets you walk toward the Duni believing you will be warm. The Duni warms nothing. It burns. The fire does not ask. The ash does not ask. Be sure of that anyone who makes business out of spirituality and charges money for mantra initiation, etc., or even think of themselves as guru, probably not very genuine, if not a fraud. Be sure of that the real spiritual master have no desires for fame or fortune, and that within the heart of the true representative of Sri Guru, the omnipresent one, there exist no personal interests except the glorification of the holy names of the Lord. Avadutacharya Heruka Baba Suryaram. He does not bend because nothing is left to bend. No interest, no fame, no fortune, no desire. Only the glorification of the holy names. This is not performance. The name continues whether witnessed or forgotten. No person is left to be interested. The name glorifies itself through whatever throat is available. Now hear what Avadutacharya Heruka Baba Surya Ram says it about the burning. The greatest obstacle to spiritual knowledge is learning. Real knowledge or wisdom comes from unlearning. You can't learn what you already are, what you already know but have forgotten. Rather, you need to remember it. You need to unlearn the patterns of conditioning that you once entangled yourself in, and turn your attention inward. Wisdom blossoms from direct experience of one's innermost true nature by the divine influence of the Guru. The Guru reminds us of this unlearning and our true identity, bringing us from darkness to light, from slumber to awareness, from suffering to bliss, from the erroneous misconception of our limited existence to the unlimited reality beyond illusion as it truly is and always been. Japa is unlearning. Each syllable is a forgetting. Each repetition loosens the patterns. You cannot learn what you already are. You can only forget what you are not. The name does not teach your true nature. It burns everything that is not your true nature. The Guru does not give light. He reminds you darkness was sleep you chose. He does not bring you from suffering to bliss. He reminds you suffering was the dream of a limited existence. The unlimited reality is not a destination. It is what remains when illusion is unlearned. Japa is this unlearning in sound. The name and the named are not non-different. That word is a scholar's compromise. Here there is no territory and no two to reconcile. Name is not a symbol. It is reality happening as sound. Syllable does not represent, it is. Trace the vibration in the throat, the vibration called existence, back to where they split. You will search until the searcher exhausts. This is teaching handed mouth to ear. Viviksha speaks of Samuji, not knowledge that accumulates, not ignorance that denies, not wisdom that distinguishes. Samuji is direct, seeing that the one tracing and the trace are the same movement. Japa is Samuji and sound. Each repetition is not a step toward understanding. It is understanding happening as vibration. The guru does not give understanding. He removes the one who needed it. Constant remembering is not memory. Memory requires a past. The holy names do not call back something lost. They expose nothing was ever absent. The one who remembers and the one remembered are costumes worn by the same stage. The stage does not know it is performing. Japa is the stage noticing itself through the mouth of the actor. The actor drops the role through inability to continue the pretense. This is grace. Not that you are lifted, but that you are allowed to fall. Purity of devotion is a trick of language. Purity implies impurity existed. Devotion implies a devotee and a recipient. The heart does not become clean. The idea of a heart that needs cleaning dissolves. What was called impurity was only the mind's refusal to admit everything it rejected was also this. The cremation ground ash and the temple sandalwood are same dust. The skull cup and the golden chalice are same emptiness. Japa strikes the mind until it stops distinguishing. The kapala is not a symbol. It is the truth that what contains and what is contained were never two. Inner vision is not a picture that clarifies. It is the end of the one who wanted to see. The eternal relationship is not a bond between souls. It is the recognition that relationship was the last disguise of separation. You did not have an identity that needed to merge. The identity was the obstacle. The mood of devotion was the final dream before waking. Waking finds no devotee, no God, no mood. Only the obviousness that was never hidden. This is the glory of Nama Japa. It needs no mood, no vision, no relationship. The name spoken in the cremation ground and the temple is same glory, same uselessness, same fire. Baba Kinaram sat at Krimku. He did not sit to gain. He sat because sitting was the only movement left when all seeking had burned in the Duni. The Duni does not cook food. It cooks the one who brings the food. Japa is the Duni of sound. You bring your name, your devotion, your qualification, your hunger for pastimes. The syllable burns them. Not because it is fire, because fire and what burns were never two. This is the way. Not accumulation, but burning. Not growth, but reduction. Not becoming, but being what remained when becoming exhausted. Spiritual maturity is not qualification. Qualification presumes someone who qualifies and something to qualify for. Maturity means becoming useless. The mature one cannot be employed by religion, cannot be displayed as saint, cannot be validated by visions. They have become too simple. A child burning ants with a magnifying glass has more complexity. The mature one is the magnifying glass. Clear, focused, burning nothing because there is no sun and no ants. Only heat without source or object. This is why the world neglects them. The world wants saints complicated, holy men performing miracles, Japa producing results. The world is a customer demanding service. Japa offers no service. It offers the end of the customer. This path produces no saints for display. It produces ash the wind takes without asking. Merging with eternal pastimes is the fantasy of those who fear disappearance. They want to keep themselves and add God. They want to become a character in the divine story. The story was always told by no one to no one. To merge with pastimes is to understand there was never anyone outside the story to merge. Never a story separate from the telling. The pastime is the telling. The telling is the breath. The breath is the name. The name is the silence that breathed before language learned to lie. This silence is the glory of Nama Japa. It speaks without speaker, breathes without breather, tells a story without storyteller. This is enough. So what is Japa? It is the sound of the cage rattling. The cage is the self. The self built itself from every holy book, every mantra, every realization. Japa is the rust that eats the bars. Repetition exposes the one who repeats as a habit, a vibration, a ghost claiming to be haunted. You sit, you chant, the mind wanders. You bring it back. What is happening in that bringing back? Not discipline, not focus, a small death. Each return is a refusal to follow the mind's next creation. Each syllable is a burial. The one who wandered is buried. The one who brought it back is buried. The syllable itself is buried in the next syllable. Cemetery without mourners. Krim Kund without pilgrims. The cremation ground where no corpse arrived, because the living were already dead. In this cemetery, the glory of the name grows. Not as flower, not as monument. As the simple fact that sound continues where all meaning has ceased. Eventually something exhausts. Not the body. The body can chant until the throat bleeds and the ghost remains. What exhausts is the project of becoming. The one who chanted to become pure, to become realized, to become merged, finally chants itself out of existence. Not through achievement, through boredom. The ghost gets tired of its own haunting. The ant gets tired of carrying its crumb of enlightenment. The mountain gets tired of being climbed. The name gets tired of being called holy. In this exhaustion, the glory of the name appears. Not as new energy, not as second wind. As the recognition that the name was never tired. Only the one who called it holy was exhausted from pretending. Then the name continues, without chanter, without purpose, without scripture to justify it. It is the sound of what was always happening, now happening without the lie of someone making it happen. This continuation is the glory, not the glory of attainment, the glory of irrelevance. The name does not need your relevance. It does not need your spiritual project. It does not need your glorification. It simply continues. This continuation, unnoticed, unpraised, unpaid for, is the only glory that cannot be fraud, cannot be business, cannot be sold. This is why the scriptures recommend it for Kali Yuga. Not because the age is fallen and needs a special technique. Kali Yuga is honest. It does not pretend to be golden. It admits the noise, the confusion, the commercialization. Japa fits this age because it is the simplest noise competing with all other noise. Simplicity, carried to its end, outlasts complexity not by winning, but by being the ground on which winning and losing were always the same movement. This ground is the glory of Nama Japa. It does not compete. It does not win. It simply remains. The ground of all competition. The silence under all noise. The name under all names. In Kali Yuga, the liars wear saffron and the honest wear rags. The temples sell tickets and the cremation grounds charge nothing. Japa is the practice of the cremation ground because it costs nothing and gives nothing. It is the only honest transaction left. The exchange of illusion for nothing. The trade of self for no self. The bargain that leaves both parties bankrupt and laughing. No temples that charge admission. Only the fire that is free and the ash given to the river. This sitting is the glory, not the glory of the temple. The glory of the fire that needs no temple. The ash that needs no river. The name that needs no admission. Viveksar says, understand and remain in truth, not understand and achieve, not understand and become. Understand and remain. Japa is this remaining. The syllable does not build a staircase. It is the ground that was always underfoot, now felt directly because the shoes of seeking have worn through. The Guru does not give you steps to climb. He removes the ground you thought was there, and lets you fall onto what never moved. In this fall, the glory of the name is the ground itself, not soft, not safe, not a landing. The truth that there was never anywhere to fall from, never anywhere to fall to, only falling is the name. In the end, there is no self to realize. The self was the realization that there was never anything else. There is no God to associate with. God was the name given to the absence that frightened the namer. Japa does not awaken. Awakening implies sleep. Japa is the sleeper talking in his dream, and slowly the talk becomes so meaningless that the dream loses interest in itself. In this meaninglessness, the glory of the name shines. Not as meaning restored, not as purpose found. As the simple fact that talk continues where dream has ceased, That sound continues where sleeper has dissolved. What remains is not a state, not an experience, not a relationship, not a pastime. It is what the syllable was before it became holy, what the breath was before it became life, what the silence was before it needed to be filled. This remaining is the glory, not the glory of what was achieved, the glory of what was never lost, never sought, never needed to be found. The name that was never holy, never divine, never Lord. Just name, just sound, just this. The name keeps being spoken. The name has always been spoken. By throats that turned to dust centuries ago at Grimkun. By throats not yet born. By no throat at all. This is not mysticism. This is the most practical thing. It is the only thing that continues when practicality ends. This continuation is the glory of Nama Japa, practical beyond practicality, holy beyond holiness, divine beyond divinity, simply because it cannot stop. And you, reading this, planning to chant later, planning to understand tomorrow, planning to become ready. You are the lie that Japa burns. The one who says, I will begin, is already the obstacle. The one who says, I am not pure enough, is already selling himself the same installment plan. The one who says, this is too fierce, too direct, too much, is the customer the world depends on. The world needs you to stay afraid. The world needs you to stay seeking. The world needs you to stay complicated, stay spiritual, stay on the path that never arrives. This path does not need you. The name does not need your devotion. The Duni does not need your offering. Krimkund does not need your pilgrimage. The lineage continues whether you approach or flee. The fire burns whether you warm yourself or run. The ash settles whether you wear it or wash it off. This not needing is the glory. The glory of the name that glorifies itself without witness, without customer, without devotee, without world. Sit, chant. Let the ghost exhaust itself. Let the cage rust. Let the name become so ordinary that even holiness cannot claim it. Or don't. Continue your neglect. Continue your sophisticated postponement. Continue calling your fear discernment. And your laziness waiting for the right time. The cremation ground does not care. The skull cup does not notice. The ash does not remember who burned and who refused. The name continues in this not caring, this not noticing, this not remembering. The glory that outlasts all care, all notice, all memory, all neglect. That is Japa. That is the only Japa that ever was in the Hare Ram Parampara Kinarami Agor. The rest was you talking, and even your talking. Your neglect, your postponement, your fear was the name, glorifying itself in the only way it knows, by continuing, by being this, by never having been anything else.